please stop worshiping the algorithm. The algorithm has a dedicated, cult-like following among creators. Its most loyal worshippers go mad trying to decipher it. They'll insist that to be blessed by the algorithm, you need to offer it, I don't know, red arrows, or creepy photoshopped faces, or maybe hide keywords in the file name, or just any superstition they can imagine. But ironically, I think the people who worship the algorithm the most tend to understand how it actually works the least. And following these common misconceptions can often lead to content performing worse. I know everyone who clicked on this video is a YouTube addict, so when it comes to red arrows or clickbait or whatever, let me just ask you, do you watch content like that? And if you don't, why do you think it's necessary when you watch hundreds of videos without that stuff? I'm Jay the Dev Guy, just a small-time YouTuber who doesn't even have the plaque yet, but also isn't selling you a get-rich-quick paid course. So let's dethrone the algorithm and create cool art for people. And a great way to learn more about algorithms is the sponsor of today's video, Brilliant. And yes, I see the irony, but it's not a get-rich-quick course. It's a get-smart-steadily course. Give me a minute. Brilliant is a highly interactive learning platform that makes complex subjects like math or computer science tangible. Hands-on problem solving can make subjects I deemed impossible for years finally digestible. You may be surprised to learn that your brain can actually learn programming. I recommend the Algorithmic Thinking course because understanding how algorithms work could make us all a bit more savvy and a lot less scared about the decisions computers make for us every day. To learn for free on Brilliant for a full 30 days, go to brilliant.org/jaythedevguy, scan the QR code on screen, or click the link in the description. Brilliant's also given my viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant. And thanks again to Brilliant for sponsoring today's video. I think the best way to demystify the algorithm is to understand how it actually works. Now, worshippers will preach that the algorithm is mysterious and unknowable, and this mystery elevates it into a godlike force we lowly creators can never understand. But if you want to understand how the algorithm works, you can just look it up, like right now. And as long as you're not getting your info from a hustler's terrible online university, you can just read about it. Google has written papers explaining this stuff. And listen, I'd never expect a YouTube addict to read, but there's also very good video essays that tell you everything you'd need to know. I really recommend this one by Answer in Progress. Now, the logistics of how the algorithm actually suggests stuff is super interesting, and honest information on how it works isn't going to hurt you. But obsessing over its perceived behavior is a surefire way to distract you from what the algorithm is actually looking for. I'm not going to go into specifics about how it works here, but my point is that there's a dedicated cult who worships the algorithm, creates superstitions about how to please it, and revolves their entire craft around the mystery. But clearly hasn't just read a credible source on it. Because if they did, they would find a depressingly simple answer. The algorithm recommends content it thinks people find engaging. So if you make content that is engaging for people, the algorithm may recommend it. The algorithm does determine engagement in several ways, like how long you watch, or if the audience logs off YouTube shortly afterwards, or a million different things. It's fine to be aware of those metrics, but at the end of the day, it wants humans to be engaged with what they're watching, because engaged audiences keep coming back to watch ads or pay for premium memberships. There are successful YouTubers who post every day, YouTubers who hardly post at all, creators with long videos, short videos. A lot of the common knowledge about how you have to make content is just not true for creators of many shapes and sizes. And YouTube themselves, who wants you to get views and make them money, will tell you this. Now, I didn't say this is good. It's hard to demystify the algorithm without coming across like I'm defending the multi-trillion-dollar company. I'm saying it's effective at showing content people find engaging, not art people find valuable. I mean, there's a lot to criticize about the algorithm. Take your pick: rotting attention spans, rewarding rage bait, tearing apart the social fabric of civilization. If I need to point to capitalism and post a nebula to get your respect back, I'll do it as soon as they invite me. But while criticizing the algorithm is great, it often gets the blame for content performing poorly. And if there's one thing social media algorithms do incredibly, terrifyingly well, it's show people engaging content. That's like the reason they have us all addicted. I just think this is the one thing it's undeniably very good at. I mean, who here hasn't watched a 4-hour essay on a subject they didn't even know existed? Or who hasn't instantly clicked on a video by their favorite creator without even reading what the title was about? And who among us hasn't watched one Family Guy Funny Moments compilation? We're only human. But that's kind of my point here. We're human. The algorithm is just trying to serve us stuff that humans engage with. So instead of designing for the algorithm, design for the human it's serving instead. Now, to be clear, this advice makes the job harder, not easier. I mean, God, I wish I could just slap a red arrow on a thumbnail to get 1 million views, or charge you $100 for a scammy paid course telling you that that works. People are complicated, more complicated than the fanciest algorithms Silicon Valley can vibe code. The reason people click, watch, engage, subscribe, whatever, it can be hard to generalize. And listen, this isn't a cheat code. Even if you're designing for humans, looking at your own work critically and honestly is a skill in and of itself. Let's analyze my own videos. First, let's look at why crosshairs are surprisingly difficult for game developers. Now, it's saying that something gamers are very familiar with, crosshairs, have more depth to them than it seems. And combined with an eye-catching thumbnail that claims those crosshairs are lying, people have enough intrigue to click on this video, and they did. And the highly produced, rhythmic intro bombards viewers with familiar iconography and hypes them up to learn more about media that they're probably already interested in. But then another video of mine, How to Love Drawing Again in 1 Week, has an okay title, but a confusing thumbnail of, what, a little guy holding a giant pen? And then the video itself is just live-action footage of an unimpressive sketchbook, completely unrelated to the animated guy from the thumbnail. Now, I like this video. Some fans even say it's their favorite, and I think it has value. So I'm not saying it was a failure, but is it any surprise it performed so poorly with general audiences? Now, I'll admit, it's always easy to diagnose a video's successes or failures in retrospect. There is some confirmation bias going on here. But to me, dissecting your work like this is just part of being an artist. Trying to understand what is and isn't working for your audience has always been part of making stuff. And understanding people is hard, harder than pandering to whatever algorithm rules our lives. This is not a video with get-rich-quick shortcuts. It's get better very slowly, tough love that I wish I had heard sooner. So yeah, creating for humans is hard. But there is one advantage to designing for humans. You are one. If you're still watching this video, then I know you're addicted to YouTube. So seriously, let me ask you again. If you believe that videos need clickbaity thumbnails or obnoxious intros or cheap, outdated references to be popular, do you watch videos like that? You're literally the YouTube audience yourself. So why would you degrade your own work to a point where you yourself wouldn't click on it? You are your own A/B test, your gut instinct, your own attention, and your tastes are the best analytics. And listen, this sounds like artsy-fartsy feel-good advice, but it's not. It's a legitimate strategy. I mean, even Mr. Beast and Logan Paul preach this mentality. Most of my audience considers those two to be artless sellouts to the algorithm, but they will tell you that prioritizing the human audience was their method for success. I mean, don't worry, much cooler people than them agree with this too. Hank Green, I think, puts it best in that Answer in Progress video you should watch.
I often find that people who are really obsessed with and focused on optimizing for the algorithm, it tends to not serve them long term. Because what you should be optimizing for is the people who are the only inputs that the algorithm has. What the algorithm does with the data, that is very much controlled by the companies. But what the data is really just human decisions, whether to keep watching a video, whether to swipe, whether to like, whether to click. All of these things are human decisions. And so my, sort of drive as I have watched these things continue to change over and over again, year after year, is just try and make stuff that people will click on and watch.
And yeah, I know, defining success by view count or going viral or whatever can be a slippery slope, of course. I'm not here to talk about that, but I'm human, and so are you. And who doesn't want their hard work to be seen and appreciated by others? This is just advice on how to hopefully get a good audience without needlessly degrading your own work for an algorithm that does not care to be pandered to. Designing for humans is difficult. Designing for humans is a skill. And designing for humans will not always succeed, even if you do good work. But the way I see it is this. You can drive yourself mad joining the cult who worships the algorithm. Create nonsensical superstitions about what it wants. Blame every success or failure on the whims of an unknowable, ethereal math equation. But you will exhaust yourself if you chase an impossibly fast digital overlord that can always outrun your mortal hands. If instead you design things for humans, you're at least making stuff for something that you can relate to. And hopefully making something you'd be proud to enjoy yourself. And that's something a hustle bro can't sell you. A while back, I started this game of bingo with my patrons. I draw you a profile picture in the credits at certain tiers, and I wanted to achieve all of the stereotypical art commission milestones as fast as I could. Furry, Sonic OC, whatever. I wanted to speedrun an artist's career. But all the gamer nerds in my audience wouldn't let me stop until I got 100% completion, so let's see the progress on the bingo board as of the last update. F2 Layuka snagged TF2 loadout. Cuddlebear64 got D&D character. Time-traveling Blockhead finally got a pure Homestuck. Kingster14 did Undertale Deltarune. Cripe150 and Jackson got Scaly. Fire King 10 commissioned Muscular Lady. Code Corey is another obscure Nintendo character. And Doppler Effect is a very dead meme. To end this video all about prioritizing humans in an increasingly anti-human world, I gotta give a huge thanks to all my patrons who have supported me being a very messy and flawed human in this last year especially. I've quit my job, fallen down so many rabbit holes, and converted an entire camper van. I've got huge plans for 2026, like putting the dev back in Jay the Dev Guy, but I seriously couldn't have done it without their support. And thanks to everyone who just watches, too. I still read every single comment I get, so if you need the dopamine that parasocial attention gives you, leave a comment, and if it doesn't, really suck, I'll give you the little heart thing. And an extra special thanks to some of the most generous humans I know: Awan2407, Jumpit, Mega Pieman, Sylveon, Abusi, Box, Cripe150, Cuddlebear64, Doppler Effect, Jackson, Jules, Kingster14, Layuka, Noodles, Rarely Used 3, Samo, Spygun21, Trekkintosh, Zarin Sakech, Zilch Fox, Scott D. Forsyth, and Womble.